take this week. It is a fantastic show, but I know. I always say that every show. But this one is going to be one for what I would call the general masses. This is going to be an extremely informative show because we're going to be talking about some very, very key and very general pieces of information that investors and homeowners are going to require. I've got two guests this show. The first half is going to be talking about a new book. The second half is going to be talking about staging and how you can make money in staging. But we're going to get right into meeting our first guest, which is Michael Shuster. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
For coming on the show.
Pleasure.
Now, Michael, you have written a book called Choose Your Realtor Carefully.
I did.
And I absolutely love that because I myself am a realtor, and I would certainly say, man, if there is misinformation out there, this book is probably going to answer that. Am I right? Am I wrong?
The public doesn't know what they don't know.
As we just discussed about 2 seconds before we went on the air. There's a lot of information here, so I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get right into some stuff here, and I normally have a format, but because we're shortened for time, Michael, tell me what inspired you to get into this, to write this book.
Inspiration came from a few different things. First of all, I've been a professional real estate investor for about 20 years.
Excellent.
Before that, I built and sold an HR, human resource consulting company, and one of the things that another professional taught me was we're never taught how to hire properly. If you go to Walmart or McDonald's or to a restaurant and you have bad service, we always blame the person. It's not their fault. It doesn't mean that Mark's a bad person. It means he wasn't hired for proper job fit. And all through school and all through life, no one's ever been really taught how to hire for proper job fit.
Okay.
Jump ahead, I sell the company, and I have this passion for real estate. And I have a friend that tells me about this first multiplex that he bought in Newmarket, and I get all excited, and I said, I want one of those. And I said, who's your realtor? And the realtor tried to talk me into a property that was just about ready to fall to the ground.
Okay.
And so that was a very scary experience. So I called up another realtor and also had some bad experiences. And not all realtors are bad. I'm not trying to set the mood. But my first two was not a good experience, and I joke. My York University education cost this much, but then I said, if I'm not going to lose all my money, I had to spend this much to go out and learn from the best of the best. So I hired mentors and authors and instructors and taught me all about real estate investing. And one of the things that my mentor taught me, I took a course on selling real estate, and he said, that's great, why'd you do that? I said, because I can save commission, I can sell my own properties. And he said, don't be a penny wise but a pound foolish. He said, while a realtor is set up to more efficiently and probably better sell your property, you could be out finding your next money-making deal where you'll make 5 times as much money as you're saving on commission.
Got it.
So I continued to use realtors, and there were 2 problems. I either found realtors who were very inexperienced, and because of all my training, I was doing their job for them and not happy with them. So I said, enough of this, I'm going to go out and find the best. And then you start finding people who are very highly skilled but very low integrity, and they sell their mother for $1.
Right.
Again, I'm not generalizing, but based on personal experience, I realize now there's over 39,000 licensed realtors on the Toronto Real Estate Board. You're looking for a needle in a haystack. You obviously want the best, right?
Right.
So we're not taught how to hire. We go by signs in the area, we go by referrals, we go by lots of different sources.
Sure.
How do you find out not only who is a good realtor, but more importantly, who is going to be a good fit for you? So the book was inspired because of a lot of things. Like I said, the public doesn't know what they don't know. I don't want to say they're misled, but there's a lot of things they don't know.
Sure.
So this is a very to-the-point educational book on here's what you need to know, and then at the back we're going to get into later how to find, the subtitle is Separate the Best from the Rest Before You Hire One.
The book is Choose Your Realtor Carefully, and if they go to your website and they buy it, there's a little bonus or something, I think?
Just for you, Mark.
Okay.
Only because we're on the show today. Normally you can buy it on the website, and I believe the website's showing on the screen.
Yeah.
If they go to the website and buy it, it's $14.95. What I'm going to do for anybody who buys it as a result of seeing it on the show, I'm going to donate all of the proceeds to Yellow Brick House, which is
Excellent.
Excellent foundation helping abused women, abused children, people you see every day but you don't know because obviously it's confidential. It's a great cause.
Now you mentioned that there's realtors and they're misinformed and integrity. But as people who watch the show, they know that we talk about investing as well. Is there a lack of information in realtors in terms of really focusing in on the needs? As you mentioned, the needs, your specific needs, things like understanding investment property.
Yes, absolutely. One of the chapters in the book I call One Size Does Not Fit All.
Perfect.
And what I mean by that is most realtors, when they get their license, after they take their courses and they actually become a licensed realtor, they're trained to be what we call a listing agent. They're trained to put a sign on the lawn and sell a house. Then what most people do is they'll say, okay, Mark, you just sold my house, you did a good job, I'm happy. Now take me out and help me find a house. and then you become a tour guide because you're not actually trained to work with buyers.
Got it.
Now, what separates the best from the rest in my book are, I went away and took a buyer mastery course. I wanted to learn if I'm going to work with buyers, not waste my gas, not waste my time, but more importantly, deliver a great experience so that I can narrow it down and help them find their dream home. Take it one step further and answer your question. Which realtors specialize in working with investors? Every realtor will say, yeah, I can help you buy investment property because they want to commission chat.
Exactly true.
And I actually offer in the book, here's 3 or 4 questions. You can just ask a guy or a gal, and if they can't answer that question, they don't know the first thing about real estate investing. So it takes us, here's an ironic fact. I don't know the exact figure, but out of 39,000 licensed realtor, I would say the number of realtors that actually have ever bought or sold or own their own investment property is probably only in the hundreds.
I would totally agree.
Out of 39,000.
Which is, I would say, 0.5% of the 39.
Yes.
So here, you got some excellent questions here. Why would you caution, people out there about dealing with part-time investors? Because, there's probably, they got a lot of information, they may know a lot about stuff, but why sort of caution them about a part-time investor? Or part-time
realtor?
Realtor, sorry. I use that word investor all the time.
That's okay. Wow, we're on the right show.
That's it.
I have no disrespect. I mean nothing bad towards part-time realtors, and everybody has the right to make money however they can, as long as it's legal and ethical. But here's what I suggest when I talk about part-time realtors. Number one, anything you do, whether it's a career, whether you're selling real estate, whether you're a talk show host, or whether you're playing hockey and you're Wayne Gretzky or you're Tiger Woods of golf, there's momentum. And the more you do something, the better you get at it. The more you can learn skills and hone the skills. Okay?
That's right.
So most importantly, I think there's momentum. The other thing is, when you're in the know, when you're on the street, when you're in the game, there's a lot more knowledge that you pick up just by experience and just by doing it and surrounding yourself with other realtors, and you learn from them. And number 3, people just don't realize how much time each transaction has. There's one section or one page in the book where I have how many emails, how many phone calls, how many visits, how many documents are actually signed and witnessed and cross-referenced.
Sure, yeah.
Now, if you have a full-time job and you just want to be a part-time realtor just to make a few extra bucks on the side in case your brother-in-law sells his house, can you really have that much attention to detail similar to somebody who does this full-time all day, every day?
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm not putting them down. I just think that I have yet to personally meet a part-time realtor that can be all of that.
Sure.
That a realtor, a full-timer, puts the time in.
Got it. And you touched on a couple things, and a couple of your questions is that there's some misrepresentations, and I think you have 2 of them. So what are, in your opinion, what are the 2 misrepresentations or misconceptions, misperceptions?
Well, those are 2 great questions. And just to finish off the last one, because I just thought of something funny.
Okay.
When people always ask me, why not use a part-time realtor? The question is very simple. If you needed a root canal, would you use a part-time dentist? If you were arrested for a crime you didn't commit, you knew you were innocent, would you hire a part-time lawyer or Eddie Greenspan? So if you're going to buy or sell your single largest asset, why would you
deal with a professional? A professional is going to be full-time. Yeah. So what would be the misperceptions? Yeah, misperceptions.
So number 1, I think titles, the designation. According to RICO, the Real Estate Council of Ontario, once we have our license and we have a business card, right under our name, I can't call myself Chief Visionary Officer. I can't call myself Head Honcho. It must either say Sales Representative or Broker, if I'm in fact a broker.
Got it.
So to get your license, you can order it online. As long as you have a credit card, you can do correspondence from home, you can go write the exam, and if you pass the first 3 courses, and then you have to article, you're technically licensed. Now I can go knock on your door, and let's say Mark lives in $1 million house, and I can say, here's my card, and it's with Forest Hill Real Estate, which is a highly reputable company. And what does Mark think? Well, he's licensed, he works with a highly reputable company, he must be trained.
There's an assumption.
So there's an assumption.
Sure.
And there's nothing to say that I've been trained in various aspects of real estate, which I highlight in the book, that are actually usually come as a result as a realtor going out after their license and seeking additional training. They're not trained on certain things as part of the curriculum.
Got it.
So that's one misperception, is the title. The other misperception we touched on already is assuming one size fits all.
Yeah, that's exactly true.
If someone has gone out and learned to be the best listing agent possible, and then learned how to be a buyer, a master at working with buyers, or a specialist in working with, you're not supposed to use the word specialist, but somebody who focuses on working with investors, great. And some people, like myself, I've invested a lot of money in all 3 of those areas of training. But don't assume. You should interview realtors and ask. 1, if you're hiring a seller, to sell your house, or a buyer's agent to help you buy a house, or you're looking to buy an investment property, make sure that realtor is trained, and I provide interview questions that
and we're gonna definitely gonna get to that in the second part.
Yeah.
But what about and all of us have dealt with this who are investing, where you got a real estate agent and you know the first thing you talk about is discounting fees and reducing the fees. Why would you caution against someone who right away, oh, I can do it for an X amount of fee? And talk a little bit about that.
Okay, has nothing to do, in my opinion, with, or it's not limited to, rather, just investors. Anywhere these days, you see cars driving around 1% listing agents.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I call it competitive, and you're going to hear why.
Okay.
I'm not sure it's competitive. It's very popular. Here's a few things that I usually urge a seller to think about when they ask me if I'll lower my commission. Number one, if you're interviewing me to sell your house, the standard commission rate across Ontario is 5%. It used to be 6%, that was a while ago, but really it's 5%.
5%, okay.
Yeah. And so if I go in, they say, Michael, what do you charge? Let's say I say 5%. And they say, okay, well, will you do better because this guy will do 4, and this guy will do 3.5, and this guy will do...
That's it.
Right? So my first question is this. If somebody is instantly, even going to post it on their car, we will discount. They've already said that I have no ability to explain to you why I'm your best choice. There's no reason why you should pick me over the other 39,000 except for price. I've turned myself into a commodity, no different than something on the shelf at Walmart. So number one, there is no unique selling proposition. That's out the door.
Okay.
Number two, we're sitting at your kitchen table. You say, listen, Michael, you've done a great presentation. I'd like you to sell my house, but I'm not paying 5%.
That's right.
I say, you know what, Mark? If I let you out-negotiate me right now from the beginning, do you still want to hire me to negotiate the sale of your single largest asset? Because that would be rather surprising. You out-negotiate me and I'm supposed to be the expert, but now you want me to negotiate your single largest asset. And usually there's silence after that.
Sure.
And then what I do is I'll usually just finish that off with, because people like numbers and people are visionary, you know,
Visual.
the mind is visual.
Yeah, that's right.
So for example, I'll say this, and one of the courses I went away back in the beginning to take was I went to the States and became a certified negotiator. So you would think one of the important skills as a licensed realtor is, or an investor, is negotiating. And there are a lot of realtors out there that are great negotiators. There's also a lot that are not. So what you want is also a good negotiator. Let's say you're listing a $500,000 house. And when an agent says they're going to discount 1%, they're not going to do it for 1%. They're going to take 1% off the 5%. So that effectively is $5,000. So you're going to say, well, yeah, Michael, you know what? If I can pay this guy $5,000 less, it's still $5,000. You're absolutely right. But if you list your house at $500,000 and you get an offer of $480,000, that's not unreasonable in certain markets.
That's right.
I shouldn't put down part-time agents. If an agent who is not strategically trained in negotiating says, you know what, Mark, this is the best offer I think you're going to get, you should take it. Or they try to sign it back once and they get it up to $485,000. All I have to do as a certified negotiator is get you $490,000, $5,000 more than the discount agent.
Okay.
And you haven't saved 1%, you've broken even. But here's the question, what if I get you full asking? The extra money doesn't go to me, the extra money goes in your pocket.
That's correct.
So you shouldn't focus on what you're paying, you should focus on who's going to get me the most net profit in my pocket.
And when you refer to negotiating, I mean that's really your value. Is to negotiate the price up so that the person selling and or buying, you're working for them.
Absolutely.
And that the extra fees they're paying are for those trainings, are for exactly all those things.
In fact, I do teach other realtors how to negotiate.
Sure.
Yeah.
So so we also talk about, and I think you touched on it a bit, is besides discounting, people drive around, they see all kinds of signs, they see all these postcards. Why necessarily work with that kind of thing?
Well, I'm not saying do or don't work with them. I'm saying, again, this is an educational. The purpose of my...
You know what? We're going to have to take a quick break.
Okay.
I've been hearing the music and I'm hearing it say, take a break. We're going to do a quick break. We're going to get into the whiteboard with Michael Shuster and...